Hello, hello, hello. My name is NicholassRivas. I talk about politics and stuff, and today we're going to be talking about Matt Walsh being a groomer. Matt Walsh is a political figure. He is on, I believe, was working mainly on Breitbart. Actually, no, I could be wrong with that. But I basically have seen him through the web as a guy who posts controversial things, and basically as a right wing figure. Right, he is as I think as far right as you can possibly go on many of topics. He's well known for his gender critical uh, videos and interviews. He made a movie called "What Is a Woman," uh, basically just debunking the gender more than two genders idea. He is as right wing as it comes. He is very conservative, and has founded a position of very hateful rhetoric. I'm trying to give him the benefit of doubt and give him a more unbiased view. But the guy, I think, is very well at doing what he does. He projects this, I am just looking out for the kids. I think with the gender and transgender stuff, it seems very easy to make it be like I'm just worried about the children. So his that part isn't worrisome, right? He can be a genuine parent. He can be a genuine concern. He can be a genuine person just asking questions, and that's all he's doing. But when you watch his transgender movie, it's very disingenuous. He goes to a professor and he talks to this professor, and the professor, he asks him the simple question, what is a woman? And the professor goes in there into a diatribe of, well, it's not that simple, and here's why. But he makes it comedic and like shows like a time lapse of this guy trying to explain what gender is, which is just disingenuous. Like if you wanted to have a genuine conversation, you could have had it with this guy who that's all he does is talk about gender. It's a very philosophical mindset. If you want to talk about biological, go to a fucking doctor and talk about your genitalia. But that's not what gender is, and that's where it becomes disingenuous. Like, yeah, if you have a genuine question about how gender and sexuality and biological autonomy works, then you would have to have all these experts in a room who can better vocalize it. But to many, this is a topic of, it's simple. You got a pee pee and you got a poo poo and you got, that's your boy, and you got poo poo pee pee, your baby boy. Like it's not as simple as that, because we're talking about social constructs. We're talking about the main topics of like gender reform surgery, sports. Gender. Trans women and men in sports, how does that affect a culture? Because those are cultural things. We're not born playing basketball. Those are social contracts that conflict with our ideology of gender. Very complex topic. Don't try to dumb it down to, if you have a PP and you have a vagina, then you're this, that. Like, we're not arguing that. And I think that's where people get confused with. They don't understand what the hell they're talking about, because it's a very complex topic. It's a very unique topic to really think about, because back in the day, anybody who tried to express their gender outside of what they really felt, or what they obviously quote unquote were, they would have been shunned. And now that people are more accepting and more welcoming, it's a topic that people feel more comfortable with. So I've been going on basically explaining the whole background of this and where I stand. What I wanted to talk about, though, is in that Matt Walsh stuff, he has been critical in the sense of he was just trying to protect children. But a video an interview resurfaced of him when he was doing his, I think, radio jockey days, talking about how young women at 16 are the most breedable. Now, that's a thing that people have said, and I think people hypothesize pretty commonly. Like, I know growing up, men were, I always heard men, shoot, even like women saying, like, look, if you want to have a baby young, the idea is, or so back in the day, you would have a baby young. That was just kind of the norm. Now, now people don't have kids so young. So I was so focused there. Sorry about that. Now people don't have kids so young, because we don't have to. But back in the day, it was more commonly known, because that was just, you live till 20, and like now you have, which is very that's very like simplified idea of like Neolithic history, bipedal history of human history, right? Like we there's stuff that we just don't know, but being the most breedable is such a weird topic given from a guy who has been very defensive of like grooming children. That's his big thing. He thinks transgender people are grooming your children. So to hear him say that, the gender of the being gender fluid is grooming your children. Meanwhile, he's talking about breeding children. It sounds very weird to him. 16 isn't a child if it's a woman. Like, she's supposed to be having kids. Now, does he hold this position to this day? I don't think so. The idea, though, is that he is this gender critical man, and he doesn't seem to have a consistent protection of women. Like he was worried about the kids, and now he's like, well, the kids could be having kids. Like, that's basically what he was saying. And when confronted on this topic, he said they're trying to slander me, yada, yada, yada. He didn't confront that he didn't disagree with this point, though. Like, do you still believe that women are this breedable when reality, like, yeah, 16 people could be having kids, but it's really when you have your period. And women have been having periods younger and younger every year. Mainly in America. So, like, are you saying that they're the most breedable? Like, I wouldn't use that word for a kid. Now, it's a very common, maybe a flub. Like, I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt. Maybe it's just a flub. Maybe just, I wouldn't use breedable because that sounds creepy as shit, But the idea that this man is even in the conversation of talking about women and their autonomy, their capability of having kids at such a young age is weird. And he can't even admit that, like, hey, that was weird. When he confronted, he said, oh, they're just slandering me. I don't know why I made him sound like a old Victorian prospector. But the guy has been so critical of people and very dismissive of genuine concerns about gender and sexuality. The minute he talks about this kind of, like, in crude way and this disgusting, like, using women as, like, just as a breeding tool, especially not women, kids as breeding tools, it's fucking disgusting, and we have every right to call him out on it. Yet the guy couldn't even confront his own damn demons. Like, dude, you said something creepy. It's high, like, to admit that it is creepy. Like, we're not going to defend that, and you shouldn't either. But a lot of his ideology seemed based around, like, making the left look bad and making the transgenders look bad, when in reality, there's a lot of grooming of children. I mean, especially within the Republican Party, when you look at what happened with the dropping the age of marriage bills that many Republican lawmakers are trying to instill, it's very easy to just think this is a one-sided thing. When in both, I mean, Clinton was a grooming piece of shit. I mean, it's just there's no real good guys, like in any in political fields. Like. It's okay to admit that both sides can have a little bit of creepiness, but I definitely think that the Republican side is projecting a lot of their concerns and fears when it comes to the gender critical stuff. So Matt Walsh maybe not be a groomer, but he's definitely aligning himself with people who could be assumed as that, breeding young women. Like, that's just as creepy as what you believe the boogeymans of the transgender world is. So yeah, I'll leave it here. I'm going to get my ass beat in this game, so yabba dabba doo, gabagoo.
Defend the objectives. Degrade their last asset.
Marking rally point.
CIA, we're almost out of time. The bomb has been planted. It's down to you. Make the agency proud. Top off your ammo. We're going back in.
As you were going in the train. The guy that's still alive. The last guy alive. I kicked him when he went in the train. And it didn't do nothing. Good shit.
Switching sides. Exterminate the objectives. Bomb acquired. Enemy spy plane inbound. Charges dropped. Make the agency proud. Okay, I'm calling it. All operators proceed to exfil point.
Damn.
Fall back to exfil. We're outgunned.
Lo agarramos, chicos, lo agarramos. When I see Jesus, I'm putting in a bad word for all of y'all. Have a good day. Have a good day.